he has committed one of the most monstrous, craven, cowardly acts it will ever be our misfortune to see. To make things even more disturbing, Judge, this was no haphazard act. Again, by his own admission, he planned the events of this day.
Welcome back, and thanks for being here. I'm Cassie, and this is A Wicked World. The story I have for you today is about not one, not two, but 3 little boys who were so cruelly murdered by someone that no one thought would ever harm them. This is the story of Clayton, Hunter, and Chase Doerman. Clayton Doerman was born on February 2, 2016. Then his brother Hunter was born 2 years later on July 20th, 2018. The last to join the group was little Chase, who was born on November 6, 2019. The 3 boys were born to their mother, Laura Doerman, and their father, Chad Doerman, and they lived together in their home in New Richmond, Ohio. They also had an older sister named Alexis, who had been born during their mother Laura's previous relationship. The 3 boys were very close, and they loved playing together, going fishing, and just being silly with one another. The oldest of them, Clayton, was fondly known as Clayton Man. He loved making Lego creations, riding his go-kart, playing baseball, telling jokes, singing, and laughing. Clayton gave gifts to those he loved on a regular basis, whether it be finding, creating, or sharing his treasures. Besides his 2 brothers, his other best pal was his dog Gatlin. Little Hunter was fondly known as Hunter Dog, and he loved going to the creek to catch frogs. He also greatly enjoyed all things baseball. He was a sweet boy who would often call his mom and older sister pretty girls and tell them that he loved them every day. The youngest of the boys, Chase, was fondly known as Chasers, and he loved swinging on swings, and he couldn't wait to be a baseball player like his brothers. He also loved playing with dinosaurs and pretending to be a superhero. He was the best cuddler, wanting his mama to stay close by to give her many hugs. He will forever be known as Mama's baby. The family seemed to be living a normal and happy life. Their father, Chad, would often take the boys to the local dirt track races. He frequently took them fishing too, and even coached third base for Clayton's baseball team. While Chad was a full-time member of the Insulators Union, his wife, Laura, stayed at home with the 3 boys, homeschooling one of them and her daughter, Alexis. But then, on the afternoon of June 15, 2023, their happy life would suddenly come to an end. The day had started out like any other, with the boys' father, Chad, leaving for work around 7 o'clock that morning. During the day, Chad would call his own mother to chat, and during this phone call, he would tell her that he had been having some confusing feelings lately, though didn't elaborate on it. Then, at the advice of his mother, Chad would drive to a nearby Kroger and go inside to visit the little clinic. However, after no one came to the counter to greet him for 2 minutes, Chad decided to leave without speaking to anyone. He then headed home, but on his way stopped and grabbed a 16-ounce Bud Light. Once Chad arrived back home, he did some yard work and played outside with his sons, while his wife, Laura, made everyone lunch. Then, oddly, while eating lunch, Chad would make the statement, "This will be my last good meal," which worried Laura because she began to think that maybe her husband was contemplating taking himself out of the world. A little while later, around 12:50 p.m., Chad would also call and speak with his father. And during his conversation with his dad, he made the statement that Clayton was going to be the hardest one. Though, at the time, his father had no idea what Chad meant, but he would soon find out. Between 1 and 3 p.m., Chad was once again outside playing with the boys, and everything seemed normal. Around 3:30, Chad started reading the Bible to Hunter, and he began carrying the book around the house, mumbling, "Chad knows what's right. Chad knows what's right." The father then went to the gun safe that was located in the master bedroom. His wife noticed his behavior and told him that he was scaring her. But Chad would say that he was just kidding and he was just playing around. and decided to lay down for a nap, inviting his family into the master bedroom to join him. Laura did not want him to be alone, thinking that he might hurt himself. So she called the 3 boys, and they all went in there to lay down with him. This was around 4 p.m. As the family was trying to fall asleep, Chad would turn to his boys and tell them how much he loved them. He also told them that they had done nothing wrong and that they were the best boys ever. Then suddenly, Chad jumped up and grabbed his .22 caliber rifle from the gun safe. Laura and the boys began screaming, thinking that he was going to end himself. At the same time, Laura grabbed her phone to call 911 to get help for her husband. But Chad ripped the phone out of her hand and threw it. And he said, "It's too late. It's too late to save those boys." Hunter, thinking his father was going to turn the gun on himself, was still begging his dad not to do it. In response, the father took the rifle and turned it on his son, shooting him twice and killing him. Laura immediately began to try to help her son, while telling her other 2 boys to run. She also called 911 and told the operator, "My husband shot my baby," before the call disconnected. Chad's stepdaughter, 14-year-old Alexis, had been watching TV, but had entered the master bedroom and witnessed the first 2 shots. She then began to run after Clayton, telling him to keep running. But Chad chased him into a nearby field and shot him in the back before again shooting him point blank in the head. After killing him, Chad carried Clayton's body back to the house's yard. Alexis had re-entered the house and picked up the youngest boy, Chase, then began running towards the road. But Chad, who was following behind her, aimed the rifle and told her to put down Chase. So she complied, and Alexis begged Chad not to shoot her. He then tried to fire his gun at Chase, but the gun misfired, and the little boy ran to his mother, who was now in the yard trying to render aid to Clayton. Alexis ended up getting away and informed a passerby that her stepfather was killing her entire family, before she then continued to run to the Monroe Township Fire Department.
Can you tell how many people have been shot?
I think 2 children.
Okay. All right. What was
That
your
I've seen.
There's a girl running down the street saying that her stepfather is killing everyone in her family.
And what did the female say to you?
And she says that her stepfather is killing everybody in her house. I did. I'm on the phone with them right now.
Did she say how or what was happening?
I asked her to get in the car with me, and she said she couldn't leave her family.
At that point, Chad had gone inside the home and picked up Hunter's body and brought him outside into the yard as well. The father then began trying to wrestle Chase out of his wife's arms, reportedly biting her in the process. When she managed to grab the rifle from him, Chad fired it, shooting her in the thumb. This made her drop Chase, and Chad then shot him in the head too. The father took his youngest son's body and laid it down outside next to his 2 brothers. He subsequently went and sat on the stoop outside of their home, while watching his wife Laura frantically try to resuscitate the boys. Laura again called 911 and yelled into the phone, "I called and nobody came. Their father killed them." Police would arrive shortly after at 4:25 p.m. When they did, they yelled for Chad to show his hands, but he ignored them, so they approached him and placed him into handcuffs. Sadly, in the background of the police body cam footage, you can hear the boy's mother crying for her children.
Show us your fucking hands now! Stand up! Stand up! Stand up! Stand up now! Stand up! Stand the fuck up!
You're going to go ahead and fly whenever any units can advise.
Get your hands out of here. 72. Tell me 21. It's in the air.
Those guys can confirm that there's people that need first aid, and that's the shooter who's not complying. They need to take care of the
I got it.
victims. If they have to shoot him, then shoot him.
Man, I ain't trying to hurt nobody or nothing. I'm completely sober. Never did drugs a day
63,
in my
we're
life.
21. Get the EMS over here.
Well, I did drugs when I was little, but I don't do drugs now. I'm sober. I'm not trying to fight you.
63.
Get your butt inside. Gatlin, get your butt inside.
We on primary?
Now.
29, we got 3 kids down.
3 kids down, 16 feet up.
Gatlin.
63, we're 21.
Knock
Have
it off.
EMS respond over here.
You're clear, they're being advised.
Robert 34, just started mass casualty response.
63, do you want them to respond to the Laurel Lindale address? Where exactly do you need them?
We're right in the front yard.
He took my life from me! My life!
What are you doing, man?
Hey, are you copying all this? Can I roll over? I ain't gonna hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt nobody.
You got anything on you?
No, I ain't got nothing, man. Phone, that's it. I ain't mad, I ain't nothing. Just make sure that dog don't come out. I don't think he'll bite you. Just don't reach for him and try to grab him and pet him.
All right.
He won't bite you.
What's going on, man?
Nothing. Can I stand up? It's kind of uncomfortable.
I'm gonna
I
get
ain't
you
gonna
here
do
in a
nothing. I ain't
second.
running away. You can do whatever you want with me.
Here. You the only one else inside the house?
What?
You the only one else inside the house?
Yeah.
Sit down right here.
My daughter, she ran over to the fire department.
Sit down.
It's my stepdaughter.
Put him in the cage.
This is Will.
As you can see in the footage, Chad also had the blood from one of his sons on the back of his shirt. "Tell them I did it! Take me to jail!" Chad yelled from the back of the police cruiser. The first responders attempted life-saving measures on all three boys, but unfortunately, they would be declared dead at the scene. When it was time for his interrogation with police, Chad would be interviewed for roughly 2.5 hours, and during this time, he claimed to have connections with the CIA and also said that his wife had poisoned him. According to him, he had been planning out the execution of his 3 sons for months, since October of 2022. Chad acknowledged to detectives that he had trouble sleeping due to his plan of killing his sons. But then there were times during his interrogation that Chad would say he didn't remember who had killed the kids.
Did you shoot your son?
Yeah.
Who did? I remember you.
At times, he would claim that he had no idea who had killed his kids. But then he would also say that he should have shot his wife first so that she couldn't try to save the boys. However, the statements that he made in that interview would end up being ruled as inadmissible, after a judge found that the detective had not properly advised Chad of his rights, and had failed to stop the interview after he asked for a lawyer. In a recorded jailhouse call to his mother, Chad would say, "I remember everything, all the way to all the reasons why and everything." He also said he had no remorse for the crimes. In another call from behind bars, Chad would tell his brother, referring to news reports about him, "Hey, I thought Hitler was a big dude. I'm matching him." Chad Doerman was charged with 9 counts of aggravated murder, 1 for each gunshot that hit the boys. In addition, he received 8 kidnapping charges and 4 felonious assault charges. He was held on a $20 million bond. His first court appearance was on June 16th, where he appeared in a padded green vest meant to stop prisoners from harming themselves. Chad pleaded not guilty at his arraignment, though he later changed his plea to not guilty by reason of insanity in March of 2024. Prior to the murders, Chad only had 1 criminal offense, from a domestic violence charge as well as some traffic violations. The domestic abuse case had ultimately been dropped after the victim, Chad's father, failed to appear as a prosecution witness in the case. Though a neighbor of the family would say that Chad had treated his family poorly and was angry nearly every day. According to him, Chad was always yelling at his wife and treated Laura like shit. Another neighbor would say that Chad had threatened to kill his dog, then stated that he'd seen the father drinking on the daily. It was also later discovered that on the morning prior to the murders, Chad had woken up his stepdaughter Alexis and said to her that he apologized for, quote, "whatever I have done to you, if anything I've ever done to hurt you." This was something the stepfather had never previously done, and Alexis felt it was rather odd. Chad's attorney would make the argument that his client was struggling with his mental health at the time and was profoundly sick. According to the lawyer, 2 medical experts had analyzed Chad and believed that he was suffering from mental illness at the time that he had killed his 3 boys. A defense expert claimed that he was actually suffering from bipolar disorder. However, a third expert that was appointed by the court found that Chad did not have a serious mental illness that was impairing his judgment at the time. He had never been diagnosed or prescribed any medication for any type of mental illness prior to the shootings. Chad Doerman's trial was set to begin in July of 2024, but it would end up being delayed. Then, on August 2nd, 2024, he would plead guilty to his charges in exchange for 3 life sentences without the possibility of parole. Prior to this, the prosecution was going to be seeking the death penalty. Additionally, the 2 felonious assault charges carry a 16-year minimum sentence, which will be served consecutively to his life sentences.
This was the man that every day they woke up looking to for protection, love, guidance in all things. Man they trust more than any other person on earth. Person they rely upon to keep them safe from harm. He was their world, he was their guardian, and he executed them in cold blood.
Both Chad's wife Laura and his stepdaughter Alexis had written statements that were read aloud in court.
Not just a stepdad. I am the person who I am today because of you. And no matter what anyone says, you raised me well, and you gave me an amazing life, and I will forever be grateful for the memories and time you spent with me. Ever since what you've done, my life has been something I would never wish upon any family. It is the most heartbreaking and emotional thing anyone could go through. Chad, I miss you, and I miss the boys dearly, and nothing will ever be the same again because of you. Chad, I don't think you understand how hard it is to wake up every day and to see my friends and people around me have siblings, and to hear them talk about what they did with their siblings that day, or how much they enjoy having a brother. Because deep down, that hurts me so badly and so emotionally, because it hurts to know I will never get to experience another day with my 3 brothers, or to make any memories anymore, because their innocent lives were taken away so quickly and horribly by their own father, their father who they loved unconditionally and who they trusted more than anything. It is so painful to see you here and in jail for the rest of your life, because I have never thought in a million years you would do this to your own children and family. And still to this day, it doesn't feel real to me that they are gone and I will never get them back. But Chad, if I'm being honest, I don't think I will ever be able to hate you. Even in 30 years from now, I will not hate you. Because yes, you did something so horrific and traumatic to those boys. But I will forever hold on to the memories I had with you and the boys, because those are all happy memories. And those were the best times. On behalf of Laura Doerman, Your Honor. On June 15th, 2023, my life was changed forever. My life was ripped away from me and destroyed. Since that day, I have spent every day grieving the loss of my 3 sweet, so very little sons. I grieve the loss of Clayton, Hunter, and Chase every single day, and I grieve the life that they did not get to live. I no longer get to raise them and watch them grow. I miss each one of them so very much. I miss their laughter, silliness, love, and joy for life. Where there used to be so much laughter, happiness, noise of rowdy little boys, there is now silence and emptiness. I replay the events of that day over and over. I get sick at the thought. Every day I have to learn how to cope and live with the trauma I now have. I have anger, frustration, and so much sadness. I had plans and dreams to watch my small boys grow up and become young men, and to always be there for them as their mom, and to be the best grandma I could be. I lost my husband and my children to this horrible crime. The law will never replace my life and give me back what I have lost. I will hold the life I had and lived so close to my heart forever. Grief will never go away, as it is all the love that is left with no place to go. And my love for Clayton, Hunter, and Chase will never go away. And I will never let them be forgotten. I quote, "When I get to where I'm going, I'll only have happy tears. Until then, I will live my days with nothing but sadness."
The boys' family also released a written statement to the media, calling for everyone to remember and talk about Clayton, Hunter, and Chase for who they were before Chad took their lives. They said, "Remember them as the 3 little boys who loved fishing, go-karting, and swimming. Remember them as the little boys who were always at the baseball fields or running around outside. Remember them as the boys who loved to have fun and were inseparable from each other. Their lives are not about what happened to them. They are so much more than that." 2 separate GoFundMe pages were also created to help both Laura and Alexis. A celebration of life was held for Clayton, Hunter, and Chase Doerman on June 26, 2023, at First Baptist Church, Glen Estee, in Batavia, Ohio. Those in attendance were asked to wear bright colors in memory of the 3 once vibrant little boys.
For the 2 eldest boys and their older sister, these fields felt like a second home.
He just like hitting.
Tony Brock coached the 4-year-old in T-ball.
Number 7, he was a funny kid. He always liked to joke around, kind of like his older brother. He would always, give you dirty looks. We'd play little games.
Messing around like his big brother.
There would be times where in the middle of the game, in between pitches, he'd pick up a little bit of dirt and throw it at the umpire. And I'd have to get on him and say, "Hey, pay attention." And he'd just look up and give me this little smirk.
Dwayne Kuhn coached the 7-year-old for 3 years. Number 99.
I saw him in the future being a pitcher, just his attitude and his tenacity out there on the field.
Striking out his competitors like his big sister.
It's really cool to watch someone that has the drive to want to continue to pitch.
Carrie Lally has coached the Doerman boys' big sister for 7 years. As hard as the past few days have been, the boys' sister has found the strength to return to the circle.
Our last week of softball, we were not going to participate in the tournament, but she reached out and wants to play and honor her brothers. So we're making it happen, and we will be playing in the tournament.
Well, thank you for listening to Clayton, Hunter, and Chase's story today. This is incredibly terrifying, thinking that nobody outside of the family, or even Chad's wife, saw any warning signs prior to him executing their 3 little boys. What could Laura possibly have done in his mind to make punishing her in this manner seem at all acceptable? So if you like true crime and you want to hear it from me, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. And turn on those notifications too, so you'll know when I upload a new video, which is at least twice every single week. Thanks for watching A Wicked World today. Until next time, take care guys. Bye. Thank you to all the patrons of A Wicked World. Now, there's even more of A Wicked World on Patreon. So check it out at patreon.com/awickedworld or use the Patreon app. You'll have access to exclusive videos each month and more. Any support truly helps to make sure the victims never get forgotten and to highlight the shortcomings of society associated with each case. Do you have a suggestion for a case you'd like to see me cover? If so, send me an email at awickedworldtruecrime@gmail.com.